Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to yet another episode of the ImpleBooks Podcast. So, in this podcast, we're going to discuss about how to identify bad habits. Whenever you are building any sort of habit or you are thinking about making a habit, we are most of the time not sure about our bad habits as well. We think about that, okay, we will create this good habit of we will go to the gym or maybe make a great body, but we are not even aware of all the habits that is actually diminishing our body, right? So it is very important for us to actually identify those bad habits as well, right? So how do we actually go ahead and find out those bad habits? Sometimes we are not even sure because our one habit actually builds another habit in our day-to-day life, right? So suppose we are passing by a bakery every day and we just getting some cake from there and just eating them out. So it is just one habit actually works as a cue for another habit. So we are not even sure that if it is a good or bad habit, right? So it's very important for us to actually identify those bad habits. So how do we actually do it, right? So it's very simple. So first thing that you need to do is write down all the habits that you perform from the time you wake up and from to the time you go to the bed, right? So how do you do it? So you take out your notebook and start writing everything that you do, like all the habits that you perform. So if I give you an example, for me, I wake up and after that I turn off my alarm, I go to washroom, then I come back from it. For 3 days I have been creating podcast every morning right after I wake up. So you can say that it's also it's not an habit, but I'm just putting it there. So I record podcast, or then I just make tea, then I do journal, then I read book, then I do some coding practices, then I just start my work day. And then after that when the evening hits, I take I drink tea again, and after that I just try to watch some web series or something. Then I just spend some time with my wife, then I go to bed, right? So this is maybe the short gist of what I do. You don't need to go forward write each and everything down hour by hour. You just write down whatever you generally do in your day-to-day life. You think that it's a habit, right? Even if you're watching television, or maybe you're just randomly going out there to take a puff of cigarette, anything that you perform out of habit, you think in your day-to-day life, just write it down in a linear fashion in your notebook, right? So once you're done, I'm sure that it's not going to take more than 2-3 minutes, right? And once you're done, what you need to do is you need to create this thing called Habit Scorecard. Hear me out, it's a very fun exercise that I came to know from the book, the Atomic Habits. I will put the link of this book in the description of this podcast. It's a highly recommended book from my side, because I have advertised this book each and every videos or the Instagram reels or whatever you can say. So what this habit scorecard is, so habit scorecard is all about writing down all the habits that you did and just put equal sign or plus or minus sign in all the habits. So how do you actually go forward and do this? So for me, I wake up and it's a habit that I do instinctively, right? So when my alarm hits, I just wake up, right? So for me, I think it's a neutral habit for me. So in that case, I just put question mark alongside with that habit, right? After that, I turn off the alarm. I think it's also a neutral habit. And then I put question equal sign, not the question mark, the equal sign with the habit. Then after that, what I do is basically I go to a washroom. That's what I also feel like that it's a neutral task. So that I put the equal sign there, right? After that, I record podcast. So this is a habit. I think that it's going to add significant positive things in my life. So I just put positive, the plus sign alongside this habit, right? So what really happens is that you just check all the things that you have written down and add equal sign, plus sign, or minus sign, depending upon all the things that you feel that habit is actually doing to your life, right? Sometimes you may think that, okay, I'm just passing by this bakery every day, right? This is just a habit, but what this habit is actually leading you to, buy cake from there and just eating all those sugar every day, right? So that is actually a bad habit. If you're thinking about it's a neutral habit, I will put equal sign there. No, that's not a that's not a good habit. You should change your route maybe. I don't know. So but yeah, that's how you need to look at all the habits that you perform in a day-to-day life. So for me, eating the tea sometime may work like a bad habit as well, because when I go to the evening and I just drink tea, that comes under the bad habit, because it actually create a bad impact with my sleep cycle, I would say. So I wake up for the next day I feel a little bit groggy or something like that. So I just put negative sign there in terms of in for the evening tea, right? So once you are done with the habit scorecard, so what you need to do is that you need to look at all the negative things that is there, right? So, and congratulations, you found all the bad habits that you perform in every day, right? So obviously you can go forward and change those habits, but it's not really easy for them, and we need a dedicated podcast about them as well. If you need that, please do let me know in the message. And what I want you to do is, like, once you identify your habits, you don't need to be like discouraged. Oh my god, my life has all the bad habits only, I don't have any good habits or something. Please do not feel discouraged. What you need to identify is that I came to know this thing very well. Like, once you identify something, the chances of not doing this thing is getting bigger for you. Once you find that, okay, this is a bad habit that is creating bad impacts in my life, so it has a great chance that you will think about this every time you perform this habit, right? So there is a good practice that in the book James Clear Atomic Habits says that once you perform a bad habit, just say it out loud that I'm performing this bad habit. Suppose you have a bad habit of smoking. Then what you need to do every time you just take a puff, you just every time you hold the cigarette to take a puff, you just say it out loud that, okay, it is gonna ruin my lungs, it is gonna ruin my body, it is gonna create bad impact on my body, so I'm just taking this puff and do it, right? Yeah, so it's not about like how to create good habits, but it's all about identifying bad habits. I hope this was helpful for you, and if you like this content, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe from wherever you're listening to. And if you have any questions or queries, please do send us a message via ImpleBooks and at Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. So yeah, that's it for today. Have a good day.